So let's start where we always do. What are you thinking for any ups for the Canucks so far this period?
Yeah, I mean, power play came through there, which is nice. Beautiful shot pass by Hughes there, and an equally impressive tip by the Brock Star. So you love to see the power play coming through. It has struggled mightily, so we know that's welcomed by those guys. It was nice to build momentum after a goal and get a second one quickly.
Yeah.
Something that we've kind of seen this team do is get a goal and then get kind of pushed back real quick and lose the momentum that they've built. So it was nice to see the third line come through there with a real good goal coming from some secondary scoring, which of course is so important for teams that go far in the playoffs and in the regular season as well.
Yeah, Brandstrom involved in that play with Sherwood. They essentially, it was a kind of a give and go with Brandstrom giving it to Sherwood giving it back to Brandstrom, and then back and forth. So, and a nice shot by Sherwood. Like, what an offseason signing. Like, he's got to be one of the most underrated players in the NHL right now with the points he's putting up, the hits he's putting up. But what have you seen from Sherwood so far tonight?
Oh, I think everything that he's been bringing all season long. He brings the energy, brings the hits. He works hard in the offensive zone. I think that line's really starting to click, and he's getting under the Ducks' skin already this game, which is what he was brought in to do. You can see at the end of the period there him working the theatrics a bit with the gloves and waving at a couple of the Ducks. So we'll see what transpires in the second here, but overall pretty positive period for the Canucks. I didn't like on the first goal there on the penalty kill. I didn't like that McTavish was just allowed to set up shop right in front of Lankinen there.
Mm-hmm.
They gotta clear that traffic out. He didn't have anyone making it difficult for him to just make a brick wall in front of Lanky. So not really surprising that goal found the back of the net. I had put that we were struggling to generate shots on net, but we started to get some through towards the end of the period there, which is good. So hopefully we can keep that going in the second.
Yeah, maybe just another case of a slow start, because the Canucks have tended to have a hard time getting ready for the games and getting going right away. But once they got into it, it looked like the legs were moving a bit better. And I mean, I'd say the one guy that you saw right from the get-go, like Quinn Hughes' legs are moving. They are absolutely moving, and he's looking really, really good out there tonight. Brandstrom too, like very impressive on that assist, because it was very Quinn Hughes-esque. So I wonder, do you think Brandstrom is getting any kind of like influence from playing on a team with Hughes? Like, because they have a very similar style.
I think it's only going to help him in practice and things, working with someone like Hughes, doing drills with him and watching the way he works, and that has to benefit other young players. So yeah, absolutely. I think that's probably the case. And like we talked about last game, he's made it pretty much impossible to send him down. He's now our second best puck moving defenseman, as he's made a case for with that goal. So it's very difficult to want to send him away when we struggle to get the puck out of our end at the best of times when Hughes isn't on the ice.
In Chef Alvin, we trust. It was supposed to be just a piece of a deal to get rid of the Pullman contract, and he ends up being a big part of the team. So never underestimate him.
Exactly. Alvin knows what he's doing. He makes some of these sneaky little deals.
I think we just suffered so long with Jim Benning that everyone still has PTSD from all that. You just assume that they're gonna re-sign Brandstrom to a $10 million contract and then bury him in the minors or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the man who made an impression on the game right off the bat, like 2 seconds into the game. Aatu Räty taking a penalty, but that's not really been his style this year. Can you tell me a little bit about how he's been doing down in the AHL? Because he's been, as far as I can tell, rocking it out down there.
Yeah, it's not the re-audition you want to make when you come back for your first call up, but I think he'll be a little forgiven as the game goes on here. He went down to Abbey and worked on all the aspects the coaches asked him to work on. Over 8 games played down there, he had 3 goals, 4 assists, and 19 shots on goal, and he was absolutely dominating in the face-off dot. So it's not surprising that he was called up quickly when we were struggling to generate more offense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he is on the fourth line right now, but I would expect that Suter's position on Pedersen's line is got a bit of a short leash because that has been an experimental spot as the season has gone on. There still hasn't been someone who's grabbed that spot and ran with it. So if Ratu plays well and is pushing the play the way he can, I wouldn't be surprised if he got a look up there with Garland and Petey. One thing he did struggle a bit with his defensive play, but it was tightening up there playing with John Stevens. And so he was starting to be a little more responsible in his own end, which was nice to see. So as that aspect of his game continues to grow, he's only going to be more valuable to the Canucks.
Yeah, and we talked about that a little bit, having Ratu and Pedersen on a line, which is kind of similar to the setup they have with Suter up there, because I really do like Pedersen with another winger who's also a center, because I think it gives them a little bit more dynamic play out there. So I think, yeah, if Ratu can prove himself, I wouldn't be surprised to see him move up the lineup and end up getting a shot with PD at some point.
Yeah, and it frees PD up to maybe move onto the wing for a shift or two as well and take different looks here or there. Maybe that'll get his offense going. So
yeah, and that, I mean, that's the thing, right? Is if you have two guys who can take faceoffs depending on what their strong side is, and I mean, with Ratu, it's both sides because he switches his stick over when he's taking faceoffs, which has apparently been very effective because I think he was running like 60+% down there in the AHL in faceoffs or something like that.
well, when you have Manny Malhotra as your head coach, you got to expect your centers to be learning a thing or two about faceoffs.
A couple tricks here and there.
Yeah.
So let's go to some other positive news. Dakota Joshua wasn't on the ice today. Was a scheduled maintenance day. He's been working really, really hard. But when he was asked today, Tocchet said there is a chance, he's not going to confirm it, but there's a good chance that Dakota Joshua gets in on Thursday night. Where do you think he slots in if he gets in the lineup?
I think we've talked about this briefly before too. I think what you had brought up was him slotting into the fourth line for a game or two, or even a week or two, just to get his legs under him. He missed training camp, which is a big thing for conditioning. It's one thing to be skating full speed with your teammates at practice. It's another thing to be getting that adrenaline up and sucking wind when you get trapped out there on an icing call or something like that. So we will see how quickly he gets his legs under him and how much ice time he can get. But I wouldn't be surprised if it takes a bit of time for him to get into a top six role or the type of role that he was in last year.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the struggles that a lot of these guys have. It's 10 games in and there's still people still trying to find their game. So if you're coming into that, it's like getting in late and having everyone already know all the homework and you haven't done any of it. So it might take a minute for him to get acclimated back into the team. The other positive news was Demko is back on the ice after practice, once again taking shots. And then Harman Dial of The Athletic was tweeting out that he doesn't think it's going to, it's still probably a week or two, maybe mid-December, but still good direction to be moving in for Demko. What would that mean to the Canucks to get him back in the lineup within the next couple of weeks?
Oh, Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
I mean, with the start that Lankinen has had and the proven skill that Demko brings, how could you not be excited about a 1-2 punch of Demko and Lankinen going forward? Even if Demko struggles to get his game up to speed a bit, it's shown that Lankinen can carry the weight of that, especially if he has someone like Demko there as well to relieve more of the pressure. That being said, it leaves a bit of a situation with Shilov's because we're going to end up with a bit of a logjam down in Abbotsford with someone not playing games.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not a situation you want to end up in. So, I mean, we are looking for another puck-moving defenseman. It's likely to me that one of our goaltender prospects is likely to be moved in a trade at some point, just with Demko's return on the horizon.
Yeah. We'd be looking almost like with the way Lankinen's playing, you're almost looking at like an Allmark Swayman situation here, because Boston had the two guys. They could put either one in, right? And they wouldn't have any problem. So even having Lankinen as the backup would give Demko the opportunity to not play, the entire season and be exhausted and injured before the playoffs even started.
Yeah, and how's that going for Boston this year?
Whoops. How's Lindholm and Zadorov looking down there? Whoops. So crazy one. First time in their entire 20-year career, Alexander Ovechkin, Sidney Crosby, NHL 3 stars of the week. How did it take this long?
I don't know, honestly. Like I felt like that was a made up thing.
Yeah.
Like I cannot believe that over the course of their entire career they have not had the same type of hot week. But I guess given the way the divisions used to be set up and things, maybe going head to head, one would outplay the other. But yeah, this is pretty shocking. The numbers those two are generating at their age. They're not spring chickens anymore. And Crosby, he's got 5 goals and 9 assists and averaging 20 minutes of ice time at 37 years old.
Wow.
He's like 59% in the face-off dot. Like what? Like, did he forget that he's getting old?
Yeah, must have slipped his mind.
And then Ovechkin too, right behind him there. He's got 7 goals, 7 assists. He's averaging 18 minutes of ice time. He's got 29 hits. And one thing with Ovechkin, it's a real shame that he won't be involved in the Four Nations Cup, because he's such an important fixture to this league. He's been a fan favorite for a very long time, and it's sad that he's getting towards the end of his career, and especially with him chasing down Gretzky's record. I mean, the guy is scoring just like he's 25 years old again, and it's looking like he could threaten that record this season.
Yeah, it's looking like, because he's like 30, 35 goals off or something like at this point.
Yeah, and I think he's on pace for 49 this year, so it could be an interesting year there if Ovi can he'll be the first player to make it to 900, I think.
Yeah, so Ovi and Crosby shocking the NHL because it's the first time they've been 3 stars together, and they've done it in their 20th NHL season, which is absolutely wild.
Oh yeah.
So from something positive to something negative, the Abbotsford Canucks getting absolutely tossed the other night. Tell us a little bit about what you saw that night.
Well, the thing is, they just are continuing this 500 hockey. They win one, lose one, win one, lose one. They can't seem to get on a roll. It was really looking like that was going to be the game that would get them 2 in a row. They were leading 4-1 with 10 minutes left in the third, and they just got into some turnover trouble. Jet Wu, who's usually more sure-handed with his stick handling, with a couple terrible turnovers in the third period. Him and Brisebois, the top pair, have struggled very, very hard to find a consistent game defensively to start the season. And they're our veteran top pair, and they have been getting pushed in a lot lately. Patera didn't really have much of a chance on the goals in the third period. He was really let down by some poor defensive coverage. Amon lost 2 key defensive faceoffs that attributed to a couple goals. One was like a set play that was in the net faster than the Canucks could get off the faceoff line. And so that's a bit alarming to give up 5 unanswered goals in less than 10 minutes. That is not the defensive play you want to see from your farm team.
That's beer league level stuff.
Yeah, it's not great stuff. And you know, Lekaramäki, he's had a great offensive start to his season in 6 games played, but he's been on the ice for 8 even strength goals against in those 6 games. So you know, I've been watching Twitter and a lot of fan talk and things, and a lot of people are screaming for him to get up to the big club, but I really don't want to rush his development. He's got to work on his 200-foot game. He needs to be a little more responsible in our end. And that's not to say that he needs to change what he's doing on offense. That's great. Lots of shots, find the net, but he's got to be more responsible when it comes back to our end. And it could be an attribute of changing from the European ice to the North American ice, similar to Elias Pettersson, DPD. But I would expect him to learn quickly. He's got that talent and that dog in him. So I would think in another month he tidies up that defensive play and he starts getting a serious look by the Canucks to be playing up here.
Yeah, well, I mean, even I saw your comment on Twitter, and you were talking about Lekaramäki's bar down goal, right? And that also, I believe that's the one that started off with Räty throwing a hit on the half boards, right? So, and then now Räty playing up here. So, I mean, Lekaramäki might fit in, like you said, give him a little bit more time down there to marinate. But I mean, they already have some chemistry. They were playing on a line together down there, so it'd be interesting to see if he does get a look within. Yeah, it might be something that happens when maybe there's an injury or something like that. But I mean, with Baines going down, there isn't really anyone else you can send down to the AHL without having them waive. So, like you said, we might be waiting a little while to see Lekaramäki up here, but I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think he's got a ways to go. Yes, his 6-game sample size has everyone very excited because he is pepper in the net, but he's got to find some consistency in the full game. And when he finds that, he will be a lethal threat for sure.
Dustin, always a pleasure to have you. We won't be doing the post-game show today. You've got an early morning tomorrow, but we'll have you back for the first intermission for the game on Thursday, and then we'll have the post-game show as well that night. So get some rest,
Absolutely.
sir. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the game.
Have a good night, brother.
Nothing is perfect.